post in one video this month. Oh right, I got distracted by webcomics, that's why. Inevitable by Angela Graham. I got this new adult ebook on sale for the high price of, well, free. It was in a BookBub email, which is an ebook sale notification service. I have to say that BookBub has turned out to be my favorite of the ebook sale daily email thingies. Inevitable had a 4.18 on Goodreads, so I decided to get it. It's new adult. Granted, this book is a tad bit melodramatic. No, it's a lot bit melodramatic. I was leery for the first something pages, but I ended up really liking this book. It reminded me a bit of Abby Glines. It's about a recent college grad and the single father, but bad boy, who moves in next door. Warning, it does have a cliffhanger ending, but all 3 books have been published, so you won't have to wait around to find out how the cliffhanger ends if you don't want to. In Too Deep, the first book of the paranormal romance Looking Glass trilogy by Jane Ann Krentz. This is a spin-off series of the Arcane Society series and is another trilogy which Jane Ann Krentz writes using all 3 of her pen names, one for each book. One book is set in the past, one in the future, and one in the present. This trilogy starts off with the book set in the present, moves to the past, and then jumps to the future for the 3rd book. This first book, set in the present, is about Fallon Jones, recluse and head of the Jones & Jones Investigation Company. He's finally forced to hire an assistant, Isabella Valdez, who turns out is running from a conspiracy theory turned deadly real. It was okay, a bit lackluster, nothing to write home about, unfortunately, not her best effort. This is certainly not where you should start with this author, whichever of her many pen names you want to call her. Start off with the first Arcane Society book instead. I read a couple other Jane Ann Krentz books that she wrote under her pen name Amanda Quick. These were some of her early work from the 90s and were too chauvinistic for me. The first one was Seduction, about a marriage of convenience. Amanda Quick is better than this book. The second was Surrender, about a marriage for money, and was slightly better than the first, but meh. In Want of a Wife by Joe Goodman, this is a historical romance set in the Old West. I'm always hit or miss when it comes to books set in the Old West, but this one was really cute. It's about a shy rancher who puts an ad in a paper out east looking for a bride, and the woman who answers that ad. Okay, not the most original premise, but was done adorably, so I liked it. So, on the success of how much I liked that Old West one, I decided to read a couple of contemporary westerns, and not so much. I have a really hard time finding good contemporary westerns. Anyone have any suggestions? First one I read was The Cowgirl Ropes a Billionaire by Cora Seaton. This is another entry for my ridiculous titles collection. I got this ebook for free via BookBub as well, but this one was not as good as Inevitable was. The premise here is that Bella, who is a veterinarian with a shelter on the side, is in money troubles and will lose the shelter, and all the animals will die if she doesn't get money soon. So she goes on a reality show to try to win the money. If she loses, she has to marry the billionaire who needs a wife so he can inherit the family business. Trope alert! First of all, it's hard to get sucked into a storyline when half the time you just want to yell at the book that that's not how shooting a TV show works. Second of all, if you could get past that, the rest of it wasn't any good either. The second contemporary western I read was One Night with a Cowboy by Kat Johnson. I read this mostly because this cover was too horrific to pass up. It's about an East Coast college professor who gets a job at Oklahoma State and the cowboy she meets at a rodeo. Believe it or not, the first half of this book is pretty cute, but there's a plot change halfway through the book, and the motivations for that plot change are really flimsy. So the second half of the book just wasn't convincing or good. The final book I read in August was The Main Attraction by Shelley Lawrenston, the 3rd book in the Pride series, Paranormal Romance. This series started off a little ridiculous. Okay, a lot ridiculous. But I think the author just had to find her feet. This series has settled into being pretty dang cute. By the time we get to this book, it's sweet and funny, and the characters' interactions are well developed. This one is about resident troublemakers Mitch and Sissy May, who have been happily causing prankster havoc together for a year. In this book, the alpha wolf finds herself taking care of one injured, pouting male lion. Okay, it was cute, so sue me. Have you read any series that started off pretty weak but ended up being really good and you're glad you persevered till you got there?